What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. We are for episode 8 of our Madden Retro Franchise mod, where we are at the 1998 draft. A draft that has some absolute legends. Charles Woodson. But Peyton Manning's kind of the man in there. Even though Fred Taylor was the actual pick of the Jags, wanted to become a Jags legend. But the question is Peyton Manning. As of the last mock draft, I always thought, I didn't even consider Peyton Manning for the first half of the season. One, because I thought we'd make the playoffs. And it was like, all right, Mark Brunell's our guy. Two, he was consistently like the first quarterback going. I was like, we're not going to have that. But look at the last mock draft. News has come up. Maybe some things went down at Tennessee with a trainer. Peyton Manning falling a little bit from a can't miss #1 to having some doubts. And it is not going to necessarily cost us an arm and a leg to say jump the Bucks at get up to pick 4 there with the Bears and select Peyton Manning. So it's... I don't know, having a conversation with myself is, C4. The new Madden's coming, man. It's around the corner. I probably got 2 more weeks. 2 weeks, give or take, of recording non-Madden 24 stuff. And obviously, once I can get my hands on Madden 24, probably not going to want to come back and play the older stuff, as annoying as that sounds to me personally, and even if you guys want to see me go forever. So there's an idea of like, well, if we get... Even though Mark Brunell is thriving to an extent, he's probably pretty close to his ceiling. He's 27 years old, but he did just have his best season of his career. Was quarterback of the year, got the superstar. It was just like, is Mark Brunell ever going to be good? Are we seriously having a conversation here whether or not, you know what, we probably should just keep Mark Brunell and not go get Peyton freaking Manning? Probably cost us like 2 first-round picks, 2 first-round picks, and a player to get Peyton Manning. I don't know, man. That's kind of against what we've done here. We've drafted good players. By all means, we've drafted some good players. Warren Sapp, Rondé Barber, Brian Dawkins. We drafted Mike Allstott. But outside of Mike Allstott, and that was in the second round that we traded up, every good player has fallen to us. We haven't cheesed a little bit to trade up. Actually, that's a lie. But we didn't trade up a lot to get Warren Sapp the first year. And we just needed Warren Sapp because our team was god-awful horrific. But even then, Warren Sapp, we traded up what? Wasn't like outside of the top 5. 100% we traded within outside the top 5 to get Warren Sapp. So we haven't really cheesed the drafts to get our guys. A lot of them have fallen to us, or it's been within the area code that we could be a little aggressive to go get them. It's not like we've been trading all of our picks to get the top first 3 picks, top 5 picks, multiple years to get these guys. And I don't know if I necessarily want to break that mold to go get Peyton Manning. So here's what I'm actually going to do to pick up the pace of this series so we can get and see as many draft classes, as many years as possible. We have been doing in this series 2 videos per season. We go from the draft to the trade deadline, and then from the trade deadline to the draft. What I'm going to do, just so that we keep on keeping on, pick the pace up slightly, every single video from today on for this series is going to be 1 year. We're going to go from draft to draft, but we're only going to, we're going to do the draft and we're going to finish right before the draft. So that way there, you guys can give me some feedback as for who do you want to see me select in the first round, second round, etc., etc. That is what we're going to do to up the pace. We are not going to trade up for Peyton Manning. And with that being said, drum roll please, the 1998 draft has begun. Just need to say right now, Bucks playbook's Bucks playbook, and they get Peyton Manning. That is going to be terribly annoying. Thank God we're not in the NFC. We're down the clock at pick 14. We've seen Peyton Manning go. We've seen Randy Moss go. We've seen Charles Woodson go within the division to the Houston Oilers. And we are now sitting here at pick 14 with a decision to make. I think we stick with kind of what we talked through the last episode. Who is the best fit for our squad right now? We had a conversation about potentially getting Jamal Williams. And then like the best value, the best role if things go our way, would be get Jamal Williams in the first round, and then say in the second round, London Fletcher is still available. But that's kind of a lot of optimism that the board is going to fall exactly the way we want. Or the position of need that we need is linebacker. We could just straight up get the Axeman, Jeremiah Trotter. Now, I am getting a couple Eagles here. We've got John Runyon, who we acquired in the trade deadline. We got Brian Dawkins, who we drafted right away. And now Jeremiah Trotter, who's really one of the last few handful of great Eagles linebackers since I've been a fan. But he's the best player available in a linebacker room that is just hampered by a lack of speed. He is an outstanding athlete at 262 pounds. So without further ado, The Axeman, Jeremiah Trotter at pick 14 is how the Jags kick off the 1998 draft. But in the second round, just looking for people that out. London Fletcher is available, which is a little annoying because we could have went with our strategy, but we could still double dip at linebacker potentially. I'm more so looking at like, who else could we go? If we didn't want to go London Fletcher and really flesh out our linebacking room, not a lot of guys. Like, there's only one other option, and that is Olin Kreutz at center. I remember him. Matt Burke also. Jeff Saturday. I think the fact that there's 3 centers, can we be cautiously optimistic that one of those guys would be available in the 3rd round? Maybe potentially to trade up in the 3rd round, because we do kind of need a center. Oh, man. But do I need a linebacker? I could put Brian Dawkins and Jeremiah Trotter as my 2 linebackers. It's one of those ones, too, like, I've got baited before. Like, London Fletcher does not look ridiculous. Doesn't look like he's anything special, but it's also London freaking Fletcher. Well, I don't know if I want to double dip on line. I think we just go maybe with the center. Is Kreutz the best center? Like, if all things were equal, would this be the guy that we drafted? Combine, elite acceleration, agility. He has A pass block, A run block. He's probably the guy we would get. Matt Burke. We have B awareness. Little bit better of an athlete. And then we have the great Jeff Saturday. I actually didn't know Jeff Saturday and Peyton Manning were part of the same class. Saturday is the best athlete of the bunch. Screw it. Well, we'll go center here. We'll grab Olin Kreutz in the 2nd round and pass on the great London Fletcher. All right, just letting everybody know we could have went London Fletcher and then got Jeff Saturday in the 3rd round. Could have done that. Very annoyed right now with how the board has fallen. Another linebacker here, Nate Wayne, good stats, double B and an A, adding some depth, pretty good athlete as well if you exclude the 4.7. And at this point here, we're just kind of drafting for depth. And he comes with a dev trait. Now I'm just going for guys that I've heard of. Remember Joe Jervicius? Maybe the Bucks. I mean, D catching. Maybe not. Maybe we don't remember Joe Jervicius. There was another wide receiver down here that I remember. Oh, he's gone. They had Brian Finneran. Screw it. I know Joe Jervicius. Even if he's terrible, he'll be like a fun wide receiver to have buried. 6'5", 230, maybe move him to tight end. So take a look at our draft recap. We whiffed. I just went for athletes at that point. Joe Jervicius down there. Nate Wayne, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like, I don't know. Did he play for like the Packers? If I had to get like the blind guess, he rolled with a dev trait, which is nice. But the top 2 picks, I did not expect Olin Kreutz to be our highest rated player, especially with Jeremiah Trotter. But Jeremiah Trotter going to be day 1 starter for us at middle linebacker. Kreutz going to be day 1 starter for us at center. And just as a spoiler, we know we could have gone Jamal Williams in the 1st round, London Fletcher in the 2nd round, Jeff Saturday in the 3rd round. And out of that, I need to see. So we got 74, 71, 77. All things went our way. I can already tell you right now. Okay, Randy Moss, 87 rookie out the gate, which is gross. Man, Kreutz is up there, though. Not bad. Fred Taylor and Donovan Darius actually were 2 first-round picks in real life for the Jags this year. They both would have been cool if we kind of went down that path. But what do we got here? We got, who did we say? Jamal Williams would have been a 74. So we could have got 74. London Fletcher, 73. And then Jeff Saturday would have been I mean, we're not pretty much in the same ballpark of what we would have got. But man, oh man, Randy Moss would have been pretty freaking cool, huh? To start the 1998 season, here's how our squad is looking. Olin Kreutz, brand new starting center. One of the best young center, literally the best young center in the NFL right now. So that's a win, even though it's not really that important in the sim. But we got a fully healthy offense. The bad news is through simming through the preseason, we had a Brian Dawkins injury. He's out for 2 weeks, partial ACL tear, which always kind of sucks, but is what it is. Not much you can do. We have the addition of Jason Sehorn, the unicorn at corner, as our lone free agency signing. Pair that with Rondé Barber. Hopefully we see a little bit better production out of our secondary, which will be tough for the opening weeks. Down Brian Dawkins with the linebacker core, Nate Wayne, Jeremiah Trotter. Coming from that 1998 draft class, I'm expecting really, really good things from this linebacking room. This is the best it has looked so far in this rebuild. Not worried about it, man. I think we can make the playoffs this year. I think finally, what is this, 95, 96, 97? Year 4 of the Jags as an expansion franchise. 3 years, first 3 years, no playoffs. Year 4, I think we got it. Bad news is to start the 1998 season, we are 0-2 in the 2 games that Brian Dawkins missed. Not necessarily the most winnable games, but they were tough games. Denver, and we actually played Indy, who we're playing again in week 3, who are one of the best teams in the league. So that was a little bit rough. But we now have Weapon X back, our team is healthy, and we can take a look at the 1999 draft. A very, very early look. Some good players, for sure. I mean, it could be the first year that, like, Donovan McNabb, Dante Culpepper, either one of those options would be pretty dope at quarterback, honestly. Running backs, great running back class. Edgerrin James, you have Ricky Williams, Kevin Falk, all great options if we want to add something to complement Mike Allstott. We have Torrey Holt, David Boston, all 6'2", 240, juice to the gills. David Boston. Donald Driver was a member of this draft class. Not much on the offensive line, tight end front. If I'm being honest with you, not a good year, which, I mean, makes me feel good that we got Olin Kreutz, because now we can kind of avoid the offensive line. You have the freak Javon Curse out of Florida. I'd love that selection. A little bit of Gator bias. Played for the Eagles, played for the Titans. Outside of that, you got Booger. Old Booger McFarland, first round D tackle, but not pretty light in the ass if we're talking about defensive linemen for this year's draft class. Linebacker core doesn't get a whole lot better. Al Wilson, pretty good. You have Dad Wynn, remember him for the Dallas Cowboys? He was cool. Joey Porter, Mike Peterson, actual Jacksonville Jaguar. It's, you know, maybe there's an element of, like, maybe I do want to try to start when I can. Maybe if there's a tiebreaker, if a guy actually ended up going to the Jags, try to bring him in. I mean, the big ones, big fish so far. We didn't have a chance to get Tony Baselli. We didn't have a chance to get Fred Taylor. But someone like Mike Peterson, that could be kind of interesting. Bring him in as that second, really, to complete the linebacking core. The great Champ Bailey. It's a good corner class. Champ Bailey, Chris McAllister, Antoine Winfield, Fernando Bryant, Dre Bly. AW, you're 5 deep that I know who you are. Probably a decent class. I don't think we're going to be bad enough to get Champ Bailey. He's probably going to be the best player in this draft class. Very, very good corner. One of the best corners I've ever seen. Dexter Jackson was a really nice safety. Did he win like Super Bowl MVP or something like that for the Bucks? Brian Moorman. If you're an OG of Madden, you remember Brian Moorman. This guy used to be a punter with like 99. Everyone knows him now because Sean Taylor blew him up at the Pro Bowl. But like Brian Moorman is a Madden GOAT. He used to be a punter with like 90 speed. It was awesome for the Buffalo Bills. So very interesting draft class here in 1999. Lots of different names for us to consider. Especially now, staring down the barrel 0-2, we might have a better pick than expected. A 3-game win streak going into our bye. 4-3, trying to catch the Indianapolis Colts. Are off to a massive hot streak at 5-1. The most recent mock draft, before we look at some contracts, who can we potentially be able to grab? We're picking the mids. Chris Claiborne, linebacker of USC. I'd say I'd be much more intrigued with like an Antoine Winfield. Because with him, too, especially, you can maybe look at moving him to safety. Donald Driver, Joey Porter. Yeah, you know, I'm not necessarily in love with where this mock draft has us picking, but we are in that purgatory of, like, you know, we're going to have to probably sit and watch a lot of the top players go before we, and we were 0-3, which was our lowest point. I was like, wow, you know, silver lining. Dante Culpepper, Donovan McNabb, come on down. But our team's too good for that, man. And we got to get the offense right, though. We've had an elite offensive unit. Our head coach has an offensive background, underperforming just a little bit. So let's see if we can get some momentum rolling here in the backstretch of the season. Let's look at some contracts. We are now at a point where we're signing some of our draft picks, our first draft class players, some guys that have been here for a very, very long time. I think we have the great Harry Colin. I just can't imagine a team without Harry Colin on it right now. I think he needs to retire as a member of our squad. I think Jimmy Smith, 4 years. I mean, again, just there's certain players I'm always going to, as long as we're here, early days Jags, going to want to keep around. Pete Mitchell's been a great pick for us. Diamond in the rough, not gonna lie, never heard of him when I drafted him. He just kind of was like the best looking tight end available in the draft. He developed very, very nice for us. We have Todd Sauerbrunn, the punter, so we may as well just get him for a forever and keep a good special teams unit in place. Ruben Brown is the big get here, and that's actually an incredibly reasonable contract. We'll take that 5 years, $28 million for a really good 85 dev trade guard. You're laughing getting him at that price. Probably could get younger for no, but even then, that's not that's not brutal to even have him as depth if we can't draft a replacement at right tackle. 78, even if he regresses, he's going to be probably what, 75. That's still serviceable. I think Solomon, just because he's such a decent athlete, wouldn't mind maybe just give him a 2-year deal. See if we can keep and just have some athleticism. He wants a better contract, which is what it is. Marquez Pope, when Brian Dawkins goes play linebacker, he is a starter for us, so we'll give him a 3-year deal. We just have so much salary cap, man. We can pretty much sign whoever we want, but I think we'll let everyone else here walk and maybe have a little bit of extra cash if there's a big name free agent that we want to sign. We've been on a roll, but if you've been watching this series, you know the trend has been we collapse at the end of the season, and we had a really bad. We should be beating the Texans 10 times out of 10, to be honest with you. We got a close loss. Now we have a tough game against the San Diego Chargers, and I'm just honestly terrified that we're going to have to piss away another year by going ice cold in the final month of the regular season, and we are now on a 2-game losing streak, sitting at 8-6, battling for one of the wild card spots, battling to try to make it right now into the playoffs. We are currently the 7th seed, but it's slipping through our fingers. 2-game losing streak. We get a 3-game losing streak as we fall 26-21 to the Cardinals. We're trying to make sense of it. I will say, like, our stats are a little off. We do have a top 5 defense, which is awesome, but our offense has always been elite, always been top 10. We're falling a little bit out, man. And, like, I think a fair way, as we look at a Chiefs matchup, which we probably have an idea. I mean, we are the home team if that matters. But, like, if I had to, like, give a summary, Mark Brunell is like, it's like having Kirk Cousins. You can win some games with Kirk Cousins, but are you ever going to have confidence that you can go on and win the big one with Kirk Cousins? I mean, not to just have Kirk catch a stray here, but I don't know. I mean, this is the kind of vibes I'm getting. The dev trade for Olin Kreutz at this point has been unveiled. It is a star dev, which is nice. The dev trade for Jeremiah Trotter has been unveiled. It is a star dev, and I guess after a couple years of landing X Factors in the first round, it's not bad to take a step back. We're still waiting on the dev trade on Nate Wayne. It's probably going to be a star, but I mean, that will give us 3 dev trade linebackers, which is nice, and that gives us an offensive line who, outside of a right tackle, which we may try to improve in the draft or free agency, an offensive line that is all layered with dev traits and on the right side of 30 years old. But on a 3-game lose streak, try not to make it 4 against the 9-6 Chiefs, who are also pretty damn good. It's an 86 overall. And ladies and gentlemen, we are on a 4-game losing streak from the 7th seed to, we're definitely on the outside looking. Yeah, we're not even going to make it. Looks like you're going to need 10 wins. And the most wins that we can get is 9. So that is somehow, some way, not impossibly, but we found a way to do it. 4 straight years of choking away the playoffs. Something I don't think I've ever had happen to me in any Madden franchise ever. To be like at the midway point in the playoffs, 4 straight years. And then for the last 7-8 games of the regular season, we lose 80% of them. 4 years in a row. Season's end of the 1998 season, 9-8, second place in the South. Defense played their asses off this year. Offense, I don't know what happened. I mean, Mark Brunell's still slanging that thing. Interceptions are up, but I'm not going to complain, especially in the context of 1998, throwing 40 touchdowns. Still pretty damn good. He might lose his dev trait. Did he lose it? He did. He lost his superstar. He's Kirk Cousins. We have Kirk Cousins on our team. And I'm not even going to debate it. Even though you'd say 40 touchdowns should be going down dev, almost 20 picks. I'm not going to stay there and argue that. Allstock goes over 1,000 yards. He's doing his job as a running back here. Jimmy Smith goes over 1,000. Good year for him. 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. 1,006 from Cardell. Desmond Howard just under 1,000, but 11 touchdowns, tied for the lead. Pete Mitchell has been incredibly consistent. Those are pretty much the stat line he's given us every single year. Allstott got a little bit more involved in the passing game, giving him around 1,400 yards from scrimmage, 12 touchdowns. Those are acceptable to good numbers for a starting running back. Defensively, the Axeman, Jeremiah Trotter, in his rookie season, 131 tackles, 8 TFLs, 2 picks. We got 13.5 sacks Warren Sapp, 13.5 sacks Carlos Emmons, 11 from Lagman, 6 from Alan Aldridge, and Harry Colin, the great Harry Colin, leading the team with 4 interceptions. Definitely like to see the X Factor in Rondé Barber. Did he lose his X Factor? He did. He's down to superstar. He needs to be getting more. Maybe we'll give him the team captaincy badge here. Maybe that will get him to play a little bit more umph. You know, it's not a be-all, end-all for interceptions, but it sure as shit be-all, end-all for dev traits. Interceptions are. Marshall Faulk ends up winning the MVP. Always cool. Junior, a linebacker. What did he put up to a linebacker to come? I'm gonna go look at that. All right. Well, Fred Taylor, great Jags legend. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him. Wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jamie Duncan. Jeremiah Trotter, runner-up. A little annoying. That would have been a nice little superstar dev trait that I would have very much welcomed. Dan Marino ends up winning Quarterback of the Year. Mark Brunell in that, top 5 range, but he's clearly not in the class of Marino, Elway. I'm not, maybe Kerry Collins. We can kind of close the gap there. Jimmy Smith, 3rd best wide receiver. Desmond Howard at number 6. We have Warren Sapp, runner-up for best D lineman of the year. Carlos Edmonds within the top 5. So, I mean, this defense was outstanding this season. Easily the best year we've had. But I just think right now, seeing a middle linebacker get MVP, what did Junior Seau do? Like, I'm going to be probably looking at some game-breaking numbers. So I've seen DNs get 30 sacks, and they're like number 8 in the MVP race. To have a defensive player come that spot? Holy shit! 90 tackles, 22 TFLs, 28 sacks. Has he been doing this all along? Junior Seau, an absolute... I mean, yes, he's been putting up absolutely disgusting numbers since we've been in it. But nothing like what we saw. Valid. Valid to come in runner-up. Probably should have won the MVP, all things considered. We cleared our lockers for the 1998 season. Let's take a look at our dev traits. We already know we lost some devs. We lost Mark Brunell, superstar dev, but everyone else on the offense maintained their dev trait. I mean, you have to be pretty bad or pretty old to lose a star dev, so that's kind of decent that we maintained. On the defensive side, we know we lost the X Factor on Rondé Barber. We lost the star dev on Legman, but we did gain a superstar in Jeremiah Trotter, runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but had really good production for us, so able to get that. Congrats to you. I'll roll that, especially because we drafted him as a star dev. You know what? Colin probably should have went up dev. 4 picks for a normal dev. But, end of the day, for how disappointing of a season that we ended up having, can't complain. Can't complain too much. Let's get to the offseason. I went into free agency being like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of choking. I'm sick and tired of losing. We'll buy someone. We'll buy someone. We'll outbid someone. And then you look at it, it's like fullback, kicker, fullback, punter, fullback, punter, fullback. Not a great class, honestly. Michael Irvin's here. No other bids on, but I mean, just at that price point, the fact that our wide receivers have been playing good enough, and they haven't been easily our issue whatsoever. Like, we got multiple 1,000-yard receivers. I don't know if that's necessarily the right move. Obviously, there's name value there, but I don't know if that's exactly what I want to bring in. Our O-line is looking good. I do need a right tackle. I was hoping there might have been like a younger right tackle to grab. Not really the case. And I mean, even for that, I'd have to get some guy that I've at least heard of. Not heard of any of these guys. So, yeah, I think this is going to, unfortunately, be a free agency we sit out because like the guys that I've heard of are just super old veterans that aren't necessarily someone that I really want to bring in. And it has to be someone kind of special for me to really want to bring them in. Like Bruce Smith's there, but he's super old. Seth Joyner, Eagles, great. He's 34. Brian Cox was our best player on the Dolphins defense when we started things out. But, yeah, you know what? I'll offer him a 2-year because there's the connection there. He was with us in Miami, and we could probably just move him to left outside linebacker and just kind of complete that room. So we'll spend a little bit of money here. Again, rest of the positions here, nothing too crazy. So let's see if we can improve our defense a little bit ahead of the 1999 draft. So we're able to get Brian Cox. Hopefully that rating doesn't tank too much, moving him to left outside linebacker. But it actually jumps up to an 85. That's a win. So looking at our roster right now, ahead of the draft needs, I think we could definitely consider edge. Could consider another corner. Probably someone that can play on the outside. Safety if it is BPA, even though I don't really want to start to begin the Harry Colin phasing out process. I think we could look at big-time wide receiver. I think we could look at quarterback. I think we can look at tackle. Take a look at the final mock draft. Just to get an idea what's kind of going up. Both quarterbacks are going to be going early. We have Dante Culpepper to the Ravens. Donovan McNabb to the Giants. Torrey Holt's going to the Rams. That's kind of weird. That worked out very well. Champ Bailey falling down to 9. That would be a guy I'd love to trade up for. Javon Curse, gone. Antoine Winfield, gone. Donald Driver, gone. There's really all the guys that I was kind of interested in. I extra scouted Antoine Winfield, Javon Curse, Champ Bailey. They're all going to be gone. We're in a shit spot. I got to be completely honest with you. We are sitting in the purgatory of all the guys that I know, all the guys I kind of want are going to be off the board. And also, like, the guys that are reasonably in, like, a trade-up range are, you know, I don't know. All right, this is how we're going to wrap the video up right here at the 17th pick of the 1999 draft. And we got to figure out just what we're doing. I didn't really want to trade up. Again, trading up, it's a little greasy. I mean, if you're looking for BPA, we got the great Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams is still up here. That'd be awesome. I mean, put him, Mike Allstott in the same backfield. Yeah, it might be in a certain way giving up on Mike Allstott as like our pure RB1. But I think we could have a healthy competition, maybe even shift to a little bit more running. But then again, we're not a running team. Like, is it worth having that much investment at the running back spot, having both Ricky Williams and Mike Allstott, knowing that we're always just got to throw the football a little bit? We have the great Dan Campbell. That is Dan Campbell at tight end. Offensive line, you know, Luke Pettigo is probably the best guy available if we really want to draft, say, a right tackle replacement. Patrick Kearney, I remember he was pretty good for the Falcons back in the day. Probably the best edge rusher available if we want to go there, but I don't know about you guys. I'm not seeing anybody that's going, yes, C4, go draft that guy. We have Jalen Reagor's dad, who's the reason why we drafted him, I think, over Justin Jefferson. He's here. I mean, Al Wilson's pretty good. He might be one of like the highest rated players, him and Ricky Williams, available, but after bringing in Brian Cox, we just don't need a linebacker, which is kind of just how fitting is that? If we didn't, I'd probably just draft Al Wilson because he's going to be a guy that likely has a depth trade. We have Joey Porter. Could he be like a pass rusher? Was Joey Porter, like, there's going to be a little bit of a casual, I can't really remember type question. Was Joey Porter like a pass rusher linebacker, or was he like off ball? I feel like he was a pass rusher. I feel like Joey Porter was a guy. Look at his stats right now. Yeah, he was. 10.5 sacks, 9 sacks, 9 sacks, 10.5. Had 17.5 sacks for the 2008 Dolphins. I think if we stay here, I was about to propose, do we trade back? Do we try to trade this first round pick to get a future first round pick, load up for the 2000 draft class, which I don't know if you know, that 2000 draft class is probably going to have a certain quarterback that we probably would really want to get. But Joey Porter could come in as a pass rusher. We have Dre Bly, was a really solid. So that'd be my suggestion to you guys. Do we go Joey Porter and convert into a defensive end, and he'll be a pass rush for us? He can take over for Lagman. Do we say F it, and for the, not necessarily the means, but do we say F it and go Ricky Williams and put him in the backfield with Mike Allstott, even though, again, we are a pass-first team? Or do we try and flip pick 17 to get a second first-round pick in the 2000 draft, which has Tom Brady in it? I guess that will be the question I throw it to you guys. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to be recording these series pretty frequently, so make sure if you stop by, don't come back later and say, I'll reply. Do it now, because I'm going to record this sooner than later. So thank you guys very much for that. When we come back, it'll be the 17th pick of the 1999 draft. Let me know what we are doing in the comment section below. And if all goes well, fellas, for tomorrow, I've been working 4 days in right now on a 0 rings to 7 rings rebuild of the Minnesota Vikings. It'd be out if I was winning Super Bowls. It has been a little bit of a grind, but if all could go well and I can get it done here tonight and Saturday, I'll have it uploaded for you guys on Sunday, and then we'll be back for another episode of our Jags franchise first thing Monday afternoon. So that will do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed, comment what we should do with this 17th pick, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, love you.